Good evening. Good evening. There's something a little unfair about hearing your name when you're right in the middle of some of the best chocolate cake that I have had, right? Oh my God. Let me try and gain my composure because my eyes were rolling back in my head. I was rubbing my tummy, and I did not want to embarrass Keith tonight, so let me do the business at hand. First of all, let me say that this is such an honor to do this. There's an old Negro spiritual that says, "Let the work I've done speak for me." And this is so much the man that I get an opportunity to introduce to you tonight. I've known Keith, I hate to even say how long. I was 2, he was still in his mother's womb. And from the time that I met Keith, watching him grow through the labor movement, I was absolutely surprised. Surprised because Keith does not look like your typical organizer, doesn't look like your typical hellraiser, and he is both of those, so don't let the exterior of this young man fool you. Keith came to the union with fresh ideas, brand new ideas about where we ought to be, speaking justice, social justice, and equality. At every opportunity, there was a chance for him to spread the word and the message. Well, let me just try and stay to this because I could brag about Keith all night long, but I promise you, Keith, I'm not going to do that. He shows compassion because he is compassionate. But I really got excited when he came to our bank as the new president and CEO, primarily because I watched him on a number of occasions in Washington, D.C. and here in New York, go into underserved areas where there were banking deserts, where folk did not have, not nary bank. I'm from the South, so those of you Southerners know exactly what I'm talking about. There wasn't near bank to be found. What you found were check cashing places, payday lending stores, somebody who had a hookup that could cash your check for you if you gave them 1/4 of it. But watching this man go into those communities and talk to people about financial independence was when I really began to understand the magnitude of the person that was there. And doing it with such compassion that I was proud to say, that's our new president, y'all. That's our new president and CEO of the Amalgamated Bank. And when he talks about the mission of why that bank exists, he does it with a sincerity that lets you know that that organizer, that hellraiser, is still the same person that's standing in a 3-piece suit, but continuing to speak truth to justice, that's speaking about fairness in economic development, as well as killing the heck out of disparate treatment when it comes to your money staying your money. Y'all understand what I'm talking about? This is a trade unionist who happens to be in an industry where you're supposed to be lied, died, and frayed to the side, right? Who is supposed to be so smooth and so slick that he can get you to do just about anything. What Keith is an honest, dignified warrior for justice and fairness in the field of finance. So, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to give to Keith this highly deserving award for his lifelong commitment to serving working people. I am honored to present the 2015 North Star Award to my president and CEO of the Amalgamated Bank of New York City, y'all, Keith Mestrich.
Wow. Now you see why I wanted Clayola to introduce me. But thanks, Clayola. Totally beautiful introduction. You know, I've had the pleasure of knowing Clayola Brown. It's been over 20 years. I'll say how long it's been. She's the true embodiment of everything that North Star stands for. She spent a lifetime organizing, from industrial laundry workers here in New York City to textile workers in the Carolinas. From crusades for civil rights to battles against voter suppression, tens of thousands of lives have been made better because of the work that Clayola Brown has done. You've been a mentor to me, an ever-present voice of conscience, and I'm proud to call you my sister. And congratulations to tonight's other honorees. Mike Muse, for the inspiring work you do, amplifying the voice of young people of color for social change. Julissa Reynoso, for a lifetime of work you've spent inspiring community organizers in New York. I'm so honored to share this podium with you this evening. And to all the activists who work with Faith in New York, advocating for social and economic justice for all New Yorkers, regardless of color or creed, class, or sexual orientation. And to those of you here tonight from the Justice Committee, thank you for your work to end police brutality and to reestablish faith and confidence in those who are supposed to serve and protect. All of you embody Frederick Douglass's dream of a more just, equal, and peaceful society and are well deserving of an award named after him. I spent my boyhood growing up in the plains in a small town in South Dakota. After he returned from Vietnam, my father bought a small country doctor's practice from a retiring pediatrician. Although I didn't realize it until many years later, it was my dad who taught me that one person can make a significant difference in the lives of others. I don't know if it was his always-on availability, the hours he spent mentoring EMTs who made up the Indian Medical Corps, or the fact that probably a third of his practice consisted of bartered services that inspired me. But somewhere along the line, he taught me the wonderful lesson that life is about more than being selfish, that you should use your talent to help others, and that the day little things can make life better for a whole bunch of people. He never once told me any of these things, but the way he led his life set a standard for my brother, sister, and me. He'd be so proud tonight. But Aberdeen, South Dakota was not a hotbed of community organizing. And it wasn't until I was in college that I learned about what can happen when people who are like my dad come together, build organizations, and struggle to make the world a better place. I've been fortunate in my life to play a small part in many campaigns where people have come together, united in collective spirit, and fundamentally changed the accepted order of things. Like many in my generation, I saw what happened when students around the world forced universities to divest from companies supporting the apartheid regime in South Africa, and how that effort played a part in enfranchising an entire nation. I saw what can happen when citizens united against nuclear power can band together and stop a dangerous reactor from being built in their backyard. Most of my career, however, has been spent in the labor movement, and time and again I saw how lives can be changed when workers get organized to fight the boss, stand up against injustice, rethink how workplaces are governed, and force changes to be made. I saw it happen time and again, from meatpacking workers in Grand Island, Nebraska, to helicopter pilots off the Louisiana coast, to roofers building single-family homes in Las Vegas, to laundry workers in Immokalee, Florida, to food service workers in Irvington, New Jersey. When workers found the courage to come together and stand up for their rights, they changed their lives. While I've seen firsthand the power of collective action, I've also learned that none of it happens without talented organizers who have the skills to inspire, to teach, and to lead. That's why evenings like this are so important. To recognize and honor the work of organizers who make sacrifices every day so they can try and leave this planet a little better than how they found it the day before. Just like none of the work we do happens without smart, talented organizers, none of it happens without resources. I have the best job I can imagine. I have the honor of being a part of the most progressive bank in the country. Every day, I get to talk to organizations doing the hard work trying to forge social change. I get to help them figure out how to marshal the resources to build collective power in order to change the world. And it's why the work of North Star is so important. Raising funds and redistributing them to organizations hungry for resources so they can lead the good fight. incubating new organizing ideas, and not being afraid to take chances. It's why evenings like this are so important, because the dollars raised tonight will go directly to the organizations fighting and advocating for a better city. So thank you, Hogan and North Star, for the work you do. Without you, groups like the Justice Center and Faith in New York might not exist. Thank you, Mike and Yulisa, for being inspirations to the next generation of organizers. Thank you to everyone who contributed this evening. I hope you go home tonight feeling like your dollars will make a difference. Thank you, Clayola, and every person in this room proud enough to call yourself an organizer. Thank you for the sacrifices you make, the courage you exhibit every day. Thank you for your compassion, your deep sense of purpose, your smarts, your guts, and your willingness to take an unconventional path in life. I stand in awe in each and every one of you. And it's not me my dad would be proud of tonight, it's all of you. Thank you.